It's become a signature of games by developer Quantic Dream, to put us in the middle of a tug-of-war between a game in which our actions matter and one where we're simply actors in a story that writer-director David Cage wants to tell. But in Beyond Two Souls, Quantic takes its interactive drama premise to new extremes, and the result is a game that made me feel too much like a passive participant.
Oh, hey Ryan. Yeah, whatever, I just threw these old things on, cause... yeah, I'm cool.
Beyond is a somewhat muddy, unfocused opus. At its core, it tells the story of Jodie Holmes, a young woman brought to life with remarkable skill by actress Ellen Page, who proves to be much of the game's saving grace. Jodie's plight, told out of chronological order across 15 years of her life, is driven by an unwanted tethering to a poltergeist-like spirit she calls Aiden, whom you can control depending on the circumstance. This flitting back and forth across multiple eras of Jodie's life gives Beyond a schizophrenic feel that can be alienating. Its experiment with chronology feels disorganized relative to something like, say, Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. We are frequently thrust into deeply dramatic scenes that appeal to our tear ducts far too early to understand why we should really care.
We agreed to look after a little girl, Susan, but not this.
In truth, Beyond's story would still feel disjointed even if it were told in order. It takes us from horror to drama, to action to sci-fi, and it's peppered with pulp, evil government conspiracies, supernatural enemies, and cackling bad guys from distant climates abound. It's too much to cram into one coherent story. Occasionally, the plot does sing, and it's dotted with moments that keep things compelling. Cage's best work comes out in the quieter, more human moments in his stories. And in these moments, Ellen Page has the opportunity to really make us care for Jodie.
Well, I didn't ask to be different!
Page is an eminently capable actress and gamely takes on Cage's crazy twists and turns. The rest of the cast, including Willem Dafoe, don't always grant him the same favour, approaching Cage's dialogue in broad theatrical strokes.
She's a witch! A dirty, rotten witch!
The system that allows us to interact with Jodie's world has been streamlined for the better since Heavy Rain. For the most part, QuickTime events have been discarded, replaced with more intuitive, contextual interactions on the right thumbstick. Navigating Aiden, too, is easy enough. You can't always switch to him, though, so his usefulness is determined on a contextual basis by Quantic. When he's required, his goals tend to be blatantly signposted. This simplistic gameplay and Aiden's limitations are disappointing, considering the potential for dynamic puzzle-solving interplay between Jodie and Aiden. But it's combat that proves to be the weakest aspect of Quantic's new control scheme. Time slows down during physical fights, and you must move the right thumbstick in the same direction as Jodie's body to block or punch or kick. But her body isn't always easy to read in the allotted time, and I frequently found myself fumbling. But it's no matter, because the outcome will be the same regardless. Jodie can get stabbed, beat up, pushed off the side of buildings, she'll always be fine on the other side. Examples like these highlight just how passive Beyond made me feel. There are, of course, choices in the game, but they feel small and inconsequential.
I guess so.
Unlike Heavy Rain, the story never trusts us with a crunchy moral quandary to change its direction in any way that feels really significant. You can choose how Jodie prepares for a date, for example, but in another section you have no say whether she kills a man or not. These restrictions are understandable because making a game with that kind of freedom is a huge undertaking. But it's unwise to build up our expectations of being able to choose our actions.
Yeah.
And then take that away from us where it feels the most important. Beyond's rigid linearity also extends to general exploration. You can still bask in the beautiful world Quantic has carefully created, and it is beautiful, but it's been built for looking rather than touching. That's a thought that encapsulates this game in its entirety.
Get rid of them.
Scene by scene, Beyond Two Souls is compelling enough, principally thanks to that remarkable performance from Ellen Page.
I give up.
But never before have I felt like such a passive participant in a video game. And I admit I would have been happier to watch a movie version that was 8.5 hours shorter. For more on Beyond Two Souls, stay on IGN.